All right, well, hello there, YouTube. This is my FJ40. Had this a couple years and I haven't given it a rightful, proper walk around on the build. A lot of you thinking of getting an FJ40. What do you do to make it a crawler? And I've had a lot of questions because I got 4 sticks inside. We'll go over that. Kind of go over the entire build because I've done a video where I talk about the mods, but not the build. And if you're happening to fall on my channel here, I'm Cruisingtheland. I post Landcruiser stuff, not just old stuff like this FJ40, but newer stuff like 200 series and 80 series, lots of videos on that. It's a popular one. 60 series, 73. I probably have about 9 Landcruisers, and I usually have 180 for sale at a time. I just like to curate them, find them, have fun with them. It's my hobby, it's my passion, it's what I love. So subscribe. If you like Landcruisers, you definitely have to have this channel in your roll of different channels that you visit. Okay, let's get to this one. I got this in 2020, right as COVID started. This truck belonged to a pretty cool guy, Zach Otto out in New Hampshire, and he built this. He built it because he owned it forever, and being on the East Coast, he got rusted out a bit and threw away the entire body. And this is actually one of the first FJ40s from the aluminum, the Alu industries in Canada. That's where TLC and Icon get all their FJ40, FJ43, all the bodies. It's all aluminum, which makes this lighter and ideal for overlanding and, well, rock crawling is what I use this for. So yeah, this is not just a pretty mall crawler going to Cars and Coffee, which I do go to Cars and Coffee, but this also I go on the Rubicon, on Doozy Ursham, to Big Bear, you know, John Bull, you name it. This goes on anything and everything. It is super capable. So let's get into it. This is, for the most part, a Toyota, because you'll see it's got a lot of Toyota parts, not many of them original from the FJ40. The chassis is, the frame is original. Again, the aluminum body out of Canada, you know, which matches everything. I think it's just the front cowl is the only thing that's original, and the bezel. So how do you build this to push these 40-inch tires? And the answer there, we'll just jump right into the engine. It's a Vortech and fuel injection, right? A lot of, you know, when you see a lot of, there we go, a lot of FJ40s have 350s, right? The small block, because guess what? You can put it in there. So this is a Chevy Vortech engine, like out of a Chevy Tahoe circa 1998, approximately. It's got PSC for power steering. Plenty of power. This is about 300 to 350 horsepower. Not tuned to be a racer, but more tuned. I'm going to put this down for a bit because I'm holding it up. Tuned for off-roading, right? And turning these big, huge 40-inch Trepadors. So those Trepadors, they ain't cheap per tire. So, and you know, they don't last that long, but they're great on rocks. And, you know, I go 80 miles an hour in this thing, believe it or not. Rolls amazing, but those big tires need a big engine to turn it. So some purists might be saying, oh man, FJ40, why don't you keep the 2F or the 1F engine? I had a 1F. They're brutal. And it had 35s on it. It struggled uphill. This thing cruises. So I need the power for what I do. The transmission is an Orion transfer case. It's phenomenal. I can put it in first, crawl downhill, get out, take a leak, go to the back, grab a beer, climb back in the truck as it's just going click, 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 click downhill. And I've done that. So maybe let's just jump into that, the sticks inside. I get a lot of questions. I did a video on Instagram showing these sticks with with that mena do 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 mena boop 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 boop, which one each one does. So obviously we know what this is. Granny gear, first, second, third, and reverse. So it's technically a 4-speed, but that granny gear, you know, you always start off in, I call this second. So it's low, first, second, third, or first, second, third, fourth, however you want to look at it. like this, right there. Then it brings us to these two shifters. So this is it's going to be high and low. Low's pulled back, high is pushed forward. And then 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. So then everybody's like, well, what's that? So it's not a dual transfer case. It's a transfer case, but not, you know, where you can push it to the front axle or the rear axle. It's, when it's locked, it's locked. When it's 4-wheel drive, everything's 4-wheel drive. This is actually for the rear differential. So the rear differential on this is from Toyota, and it's probably the best full floating axle that is OEM that you can get, and it's from an 80 series. Does that look familiar? That's from an 80 series. And then the other trick, when you're wanting a lot of flex, you see right here, my let me get my finger there, right there. Those are my leaf springs from an FJ55, an Iron Pig. So when someone has an FJ55 and they're about to throw away their leaf springs, you go, no, 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 I'll buy those off of you. You're throwing them away? How about $100? How about $200? Worth every penny, because you want those to be flat. Let's get a side view of that. See how flat they are? That's what you want, because you want the flex. All right. Now, got my little cheat sheet here with all the mods that have been done. Now on the front, the leaf springs are from a 60 series. So 55 in the back, 60 in the front. And honestly, before this had a 14-inch Bilstein shock, and I switched it because one broke. And it took a few miles before we took a, you know, little snack break on the trail that I noticed that, hey, my it just came completely undone. They're just hanging loose. So the leaf springs, they do all the work. Very predictable when you are crawling. All right, so got the 5.7 Chevy. I think it had like 40,000 miles from the donor, and this maybe has another 10, 15,000 miles put on it, because it's mostly for trail, going from around town. Obviously, it's not a daily driver. It's got Ram's horn shorty headers, painless wiring harness, and of course, fuel injected. And I think I said an SM420, I stand corrected. It's an SM465, the 4-speed manual transmission. And my fuel tank is still where it is originally. It is a new fuel tank, but it's OEM. So on the FJ40s, there it is, sitting under the passenger. So if anything blows up, your passenger gets ejected, you stay firmly seated in the seat. I have a best top for this, but honestly, I always leave it like this, and I got a car cover. So that's another thing. If you subscribe, and I'll put down in the description, I love Landcruisers. I compare a 100 series to a 470, a 200 to a 100, a 200 to a 570, a 60 to an 80. You get the idea. I think I've done every combination, and it's on my channel, which is helpful because some people say, well, I want an 80 or a 100, I'm not sure. And once you kind of figure out what they want to do with the vehicle, maybe an 80 is more appropriate for them, or maybe a 100 if they're up in the mountains and they need that V8 and they're just overlanding and doing less crawling or aggressive stuff. So if you have any questions, I've helped people find Landcruisers. I've helped people make the decision of which one they should get, and those videos can help serve that as well. All right, those are the Trepadors. Yeah, 40-inch, 13.5 by 17. The wheels are beadlock, right? Beadlock meaning this, all those bolts that go in sandwich the sidewall of that tire, so that's not going to come off the bead. So what's interesting, those Trepadors, you can go down to about 4 psi when you're overlanding, rock crawling, and you don't even notice it. It doesn't even show that it's flat until it hits a boulder. Then it kind of morphs and molds around the boulder. So it's such a stiff wall, and you can see just like the meat on the side of this thing. It's crazy. So when I go down to 4 or 5 on the trail, it looks just like this. It's pretty nuts. Until, again, you hit something, you're rolling over something. So those are Raceline 7 by 8.5 beadlock wheels. It's got a worn XD 9000 winch in the front. So why does this have a winch? Well, I got to help my friends out, right? I have yet to use that for me. This thing is so capable. So good old Factor 55 fair lead and gear up front. Yep. The back, so I was talking about the front reservoir shocks are 14-inch, and then I got 12-inch Bilsteins in the back. And there's limiting straps as well. So, you know, bump stops, limiting straps, all of that good stuff. If you're gonna flex out too much, you wanna have it obviously not go beyond your max. So Metaltech is that front fenders. I get a lot of questions on that. So this is Metaltech. I really like it. And I like that it kind of steps down, right? From the hood down to the Metaltech, down to the wheel. So yeah, the wheels stick out, but as it should. And what's great is when you're sitting up here wheeling, you look down and you can at least put your driver on the boulder and rocks that you want. And if you have a spotter, or once you know the narrowness or width of your vehicle, then you know, your spotter can tell you driver. But when you wheel enough, you start to figure it out. So as far as Metaltech, it also has the family roll cage. I love this thing. I think this is a beautiful one compared to the OEM, which it comes down here and hoops low. This gives you full coverage in the back. I think it just is sexy. I love how it comes along this line here, curves out, and that does not get in the way. You can climb in and out. Great handle right here to get in. And I like this where I mounted my RAM right to here, put the phone. So it's great. 5-point harness seats. I think that's important when you're wheeling, and then you just turn this dial left or right and it pops all 4 out. 2 harnesses from the shoulder and 2 around the waist, and 1 obviously at the crotch area, so that holds you firmly in place. So the integrated front seat cradle, grab handles, and yeah, they call this the oh shit bar, is that, so your passenger has something to hang on to, although the seat's going to hold them firmly in place. It's got a Tuffy center console, so all my lights, everything, even ignition, everything is inside there, kill switch and all, so everything's protected. Don't get any funny ideas. Yeti in the back. So this also Metaltech, the rear bumper. I love how the Yeti fits in there perfectly, and then a big huge 40-inch spare tire in the back. I've always liked how the rear of this thing looks. And you know, again, those are huge wheels, right? But it's proportionate. I feel it really is. You know, 42s would start looking too cartoonish. This is right borderline of you know, being too crazy, but it works, especially with the spare hanging off the back. So, and you know what, the rear bumper, I think I said Metaltech, it's mana-free rear bumper with the swing out cooler carrier and the spare tire mount. Not, that one is not Metaltech. Sorry, I do stand corrected. The exhaust is custom because it's tucked in the back. So yeah, the Aqualoo aluminum body, front cowl, the windshield. So that's another cool thing. This windshield comes down so you can lock it in place there. All you have to do is unscrew on each side. Just that. That's what's holding it in. Nothing else, as you can see across, is holding it in. So sometimes you do see a little shake, a little flex, like the windshield can flex to the left and the roll cage goes to the right when you're fully flexed out. It's pretty cool. Everything's LED for the lights. The inside, this is what's kind of cool too. So when I finish wheeling, this is all rhino lined in the same color. Again, because it's aluminum body, so it's either aluminum, carpet it, or of course, use this rhino liner. So I can just take these carpets out here, empty out the back, and literally hose this thing out. There's a couple drainage holes, which, you know, allow for the water to come out. So that is perfect as well. There's 3 coats of heavy clear coat on this. So I can always buff it and keep this color looking good. A lot of people ask me what this color is, and it's too bad we ran out of direct sunlight, because when the sun hits it, you see the gold speck, which makes this look a little bit olive. But this is an Audi color. It's called Goodwood Green, with lots and lots of gold fleck added. So there's a close-up. And then 3 coats of clear so that you can buff it after being on the trail and get any of those scratches out. Yeah, the Orion transfer case is a 4-to-1. It's got a disc parking brake, which I think I'm going to remove because it doesn't work well at all. It's got a AA transfer case mount, custom built Toyota CV drive shafts, front and rear. So obviously, you know, when you're moving stuff around, because that front axle is a 60 series and it is extended 3 inches and then turned 10 degrees, so you get the right angle. It needs a little bit of fresh coat of paint because that pumpkin does hit rocks. The other cool thing is, you know, when you see Jeeps, their steering is right here, and they have to go chromoly heavy duty because they're going to hit rocks. What do I hit? I'll hit my axle, no big deal, that thing is tough as bones. I'll hit my diff, or I'll hit my leaf springs. My steering is right here. It's above the leaf spring, so I will never knock my steering out on the trail. So that's key. That's just kind of built by reason. All right, so the transfer case, what else we got going? The rear suspension has a heavy-duty anti-wrap bar with the Johnny joint and the shackle to allow full suspension movement. So you can see the custom mounting points for the shackles, and then the Johnny joint right there. So allow everything to flex as it should. So the gearing, the 80 series rear axle, it's full floater with disc brakes, calipers, pads, all that good stuff. The factory locker is custom built with the cable. So you know, like the E-locker on an 80 series, so that, which we talked about earlier, is a manual cable, which is run by that right there in the middle of your screen. So manually I can engage and disengage the rear locker and not wait for, you know, an E-locker to engage it. So that's pretty convenient. Welded differential bash guard, and the 60 series front axle is geared 410, so they're both 410 gearing. And as I mentioned, the axle's widened 3 inches, cut and turn 10 degrees of caster, you know, to have the axle brace movement to the top for more clearance. It's got full long field cryo Burfields and shafts, the cryo locking hub internals, and it has a new 4Runner upgraded 4-piston front calipers. Aussie lunchbox locker up front, and welded knuckle brace tabs and steering stops. So the high steer, that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. So that's a high steer kit. So obviously my steering arm is out of harm's way. It's got new HD helm joints and double sleeve tubes. Yeah, and the front coverage, front diff cover and bash guard as well. As far as the limiting straps, those are Mastercraft nylon limiting straps, both front and rear. And the PSC that we were looking at earlier is the hydro assisted steering box. So literally you can steer this with 2 fingers on the trail and on the highway. The high pressure pump, ram, cooler, reservoir, real nice. Flexolite Blackmagic electric fan up front with the original immaculate radiator. So they don't build radiators like they used to. You want them all metal, not this plastic crap. As far as like some recovery stuff, the high lift, 5-foot high lift jack is mounted to the bar, to the cage. So that's convenient. Yeah, that front, we call this the radiator hoop and the stinger. And yes, I've been coming down on such an angle, I have kissed this stinger on rocks and the dirt trail. That's how steep this thing will go. And then I think that's about it. The rock sliders, I think that's like one of the first main things to do, and I have ridden many rocks with these. Those are Metaltech. That's Metaltech. I like how they come up on the angle, and that's why the body of this truck has never been damaged, apart from the little bit of pinstriping. Because think about it, the tires stick way out. Then I got the Metaltech bumper, got the sliders. So this thing, maybe I have hit on kind of sideways. I've hit the top of these bars before, but if I had a hard top, I would have crushed it. So that's why that roll cage is great. And there is a little Tacoma on this truck too. It's got Tacoma dual diaphragm bass booster, brake booster kit on it. So to stop those big wheels. So disc brakes all around. And what can I say? I absolutely love this thing. Now this will not fit in my garage. I use a car cover for all my Landcruisers. Believe it or not, it's the same car cover. I've been having Landcruisers my whole life, and I've searched and searched, because you can't just go buy a Toyota 80 series car cover. If you have a roof rack and Rome cases or Pelican or Zarges or whatever you put up there, rooftop tent, you need a bigger cover. So I found one. If you're interested, they're 140 bucks shipped, and perfect. And I use them on my 40. It actually covers from stinger all the way to the rear tire. On the 80 series, it will not cover the tire, but I think it's kind of cool that it sticks out. If you watch my videos, you've seen these covers before. Available in gray and black, so it fits an 80 series with a lot of roof rack stuff. Fits a 40, fits a 60, fits a 100. I'm yet to try it on my 200 because the 200 is more of a daily driver. But these sit outside. I'm in California, so I don't get a ton of rain. But when it rains, it'll rain, you know, for weeks on end when we get an El Nino or something crazy. So it protects it. It's super simple. We get the Santa Ana winds, so it's got a tie that goes underneath, and I just make sure I secure it. But waterproof, 140 bucks, you cannot go wrong. And I love it in black because it's very discreet, hidden, blends in. You know, I don't like the shiny or the light gray. I've got a couple of them. I prefer the black, but of course, it's your choice. I've got them in both colors, and a whole bunch of cool gear, right? So this shovel, I get asked a lot about this. Agency 6, I got 10% off link for that. So a lot of the companies, I find gear, and if I like it and I use it, then I'll help promote them. So I'll put a link for these guys, and I ask them for discounts for my followers and subscribers. So 10% off Agency 6. You just undo these 2 bolts and voila, you got your shovel. Cool mounts and everything. They have flat mounts as well to mount to an 80 series. I got a video of that on my channel. So just cool gear, cool stuff. My axe up here, sometimes that does twist after I come off the trail doing crazy stuff. There we go. All right. And this is a clean agent fire extinguisher. So if you have an engine fire, you use a traditional fire extinguisher, you're going to put the fire out, but you're going to pretty much ruin the electronics of your engine. That is a clean agent which protects the electronics. So should we go for a drive? Let me show you how fun it is to sit up here. I have friends with major lifted Rubicons, you know, with 40-inch tires as well, super lifted, and they get in this and they're like, oh my God, you're so high off the ground, because you're sitting up high in these seats. Those are heated as well, believe it or not. This car is also air conditioned. As long as you drive on a cold day and you have the top off, you are getting all the conditioned air you could possibly want. I put my Rotopax back here. It's not there right now because, as you can see, not the best place for it because it sticks out and it gets caught, as it has many times. So that's why I got these. These are the roll packs. They come white for water, but I plasti dipped this tan because the white was just popping out too much. On the other side, that is Army green, OD green, and you could see red underneath because I hit some walls when I was on the trail. So I just have to reshoot that. But that's the beauty. This is kept in perfect shape because it's protected by the plasti dip. So I'll just redo that, no problem, on some Sunday afternoon. All right, let's jump in, go for a quick drive. So again, you gotta climb up. Oh yeah, ActionTrax. So as a dual purpose, these are tracks, which I've never had to use, but again, just like a lot of my recovery gear, I'll have it on board to help others. And these are green ones, so they went well with this truck. I sell these, so you can get these with metal. These ones don't have metal. The metal are probably much better, and I put yellow zinc. Let's climb back here from above. I usually have a seat there, but I cleared it out to have more room. So recovery gear, I also use, and I've got videos of the 4-hose system, Thor's Lightning. So I just went to Big Bear this past weekend, and while I was waiting 30-40 minutes for my friends to air up, I aired up in about 5 minutes flat. The 4-hose dual compressor is phenomenal. And I don't have it on board like some people do. I have it portable because I got a lot of overland and rock crawlers. So I just keep that one system. It's the total control. So it actually, you set it to, you know, for these tires, I set it to 24 PSI. So I go up from my 4 PSI to 24 PSI in these huge 40-inch tires. It takes 4 minutes. It used to take me 40 minutes like it did my friends, or does my friends. Now it takes me 5 minutes. All right, so let's fire her up. See what I mean? When I'm crawling, I can see where to put that tire. I love on the motor for the windshield wipers up top here. It's pretty cool. But we're super high, super comfortable. Because it's built to flex, it's got nice roll when you turn. So it's not a Porsche. I'm not on rails. When I turn, I'll get nice roll, if you can see that on camera. And the gauges, very cool gauges, love those, the Pro Comps. Cleans it up, right? Color matched inside as well. Oh, that's one of my Landcruisers for sale right there. 80 series. Actually, let's pull up beside it so you can see how tall this is, because that Landcruiser back there is lifted. It's got a 2-inch lift, and the one behind it's got a 4-inch lift. So let's go see that for fun. It'll really show you how tall this thing is and why it does not fit in my garage. All right, as I mentioned, so I have a video on this 80 series, and I always have an 80 series available. So this is one of them. So let's get beside it first of all. So you see the fender is matching the height of my tire. Usually I'm pretty helpful. I can tell people, like, you got some bird crap on the top of your car. So this is eye level. We're looking over this car. So a little taller than that 80 series, lifted 80 series, may I add. So if we pulled up beside a Cadillac Escalade or something, so same thing with this one. We're sitting, this is eye level. This is my eye level, and this is the top of this vehicle compared to this one. 4-inch lift, 80 series, 34-inch tires, 40-inch, 34-inch, and we're just sitting way above this thing. You can see the top of the roof rack. All right, well, we'll get her parked. And another video I have coming up soon is this 200 series right here. It's all ARB equipped. I'm gonna do a video of that. Yeah, you can see how the my hood, and I'm on a slanted driveway. My hood's above the taillight, probably slightly above the line of the window here if I pulled up closer to give you an idea of height. But that 200 series is fully equipped with ARB front, rear. I'm going to be totally changing that rear bumper back there, and that roof rack, so some cool stuff. So stay tuned. Cool video coming up. 200 series 2008, the original, the old versus the new. That's a 2016. And you can check out that video too. I'll put some of the links in the description below. Oh, and I was talking car covers. So there's one right there. That's on a 70 series. That's Godzilla. Next over is the Menace, about to get a 5-speed H55F manual transmission put in. And that's an 80 series hiding behind the, with a 2-year-old top. So that top has lasted 2 years, and I'm getting ready to replace it, and I'm gonna go black. That black one is probably only 6 months old, still like new. And the front of my house gets sun all day long. So that, let me jump off this thing. Okay. So yeah, those are the car covers, and I'm going to do a video series coming up on this HJ61 with the high roof. You can see right there. We're putting an awesome H55F and a new transfer case, and then I'll do a video of this truck and doing a nice light, some light upgrades and some cool stuff to it. So I digress. You see, I like Landcruisers. Someone help me. Actually, don't help me. I love it. This is my passion and my hobby. All right, well, that's the Green Machine. Full kind of walk through everything that's on this bad boy. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. Hit me up. And especially if you want ActionTrax or Thor's Lightning, or for that 4-air compressor tool roll bags, the coolest bags to have your tools in so they don't rattle when you're on fire roads and on whoops. So all that stuff and more. The Agency 6, that shovel I showed you, they make handles, they make a bunch of cool stuff. And even see these roof racks, if anybody noticed. So I'm actually working with those guys, helping them expand, because these roof racks are the most rugged, badass, heavy-duty roof racks you can get, and they look sexy on an 80 series. They also make them for 100s, 200s. I have those on my channel. Just search it on my channel. Just type in roof rack, and you'll see all my different roof rack videos. And drawers. God, oh no, I can't even open it. There's an awesome drawer inside there. You'll have to check a video. Drawer systems for the 200, the 100, the 80 series, and so on. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me bend your ear, and bend my ear back if you like. Ask any questions. I get back to everybody because you know what? The Landcruiser community is an awesome community. And if you're ever thinking of getting one, you know, life is short. Why wait? Go treat yourself. You'll be super happy. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Happy trails, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.